Hello everyone, it's Tonya with Scribbles in Time. I'm going to film a flip through today of a journal, a personal journal of mine that I am letting go of. I have not actually did any like writing journaling in this. I've done more of, so I made this a long time ago, and back on other videos, if you watched other videos, I always talk about things that you can do on the mixed media paper. And I always talk about like what I like to do in mine and that kind of thing. Well, I had made this one a long time ago, and I've tried to, like go in and use it more like a glue book, I guess is how most people would describe it. But I've done in this what I always talk about, what can be done in my other journals that I sell. But anyway, I have still a few pages in this one that I haven't done anything with. They're still just kind of the base pages. I never journaled in the little journal portion of it, never sketched in it or anything, but I did a lot of what I was calling glue pages, although some of it was like, I added sticks and things like that. But yeah, I did it more like a mixed media style journal when I was using it as my own, but there's still plenty of writing space in here, and there's a couple of pages still available that you could glue on if you wanted to do something like that, or sketch, or whatever, because the art portion of the book is with mixed media paper. I did use some watercolor. This was back when I was mixing watercolor paper with mixed media paper. I tend now to do all mixed media paper, but I think this one had some watercolor paper in it. Anyway, I never even named this one. I always just, in my brain, I always thought of it as ice, and I never really named it, so I'm just going to say that it's ice. And the reason is, and I don't even know how well this shows up on camera, but the dragonfly on the front of it has these icy blue little stones, and then I had put these little icy blue buttons here on the coming across the spine that I just thought coordinated so well with that. And then up here, these little opaque looking beads that are inside these flowers also have a very ice look to them. I just had always referred to this one as ice, and but yet I never officially named it. I never even filmed a video on this one. It was during that time right after, it was either right after my dad had passed or right before, but I wasn't filming a lot of videos then. And anyway, so I never had even filmed a video of this journal. I'm going to do a flip through of it, and I don't have a lot of updating to do because my last video I kind of updated on everything. We did just get back from Amsterdam and some of the little neighboring towns around there. Absolutely beautiful over in the Netherlands. We had an awesome trip. I took 2 huge empty suitcases with me and filled them up. I found an antique bookshop there, and anyway, had a blast. Let's get started with the journal though. If anyone's interested, I have put my Etsy shop in vacation mode. We're leaving for another trip, I think in about a week and like 10 days. And so my Etsy shop is in vacation mode, but if anyone is interested in this journal, feel free to email me. It's scribblesintime@gmail.com. And even on vacation, I will be checking my email. And what I'm going to try to do is go ahead and package her up so that if anybody emails me while I'm out of the country, I have someone that house sits for me, so I can have it all packaged up, and hopefully can kind of get them to get it to the post office for me. I'll have to kind of play with that and see if I can make that happen. Anyway, so the journal itself, let's measure it first. And she is about, with all the stuff poking out, she's somewhere around 8 inches. I'm going to go with 8 inches. The height of the book is, with the stuff poking out, it's about 9.5 inches. As you already know, my books are not made to go on a bookshelf, like where like up against other books like that, because they have, too much poking out on that. So I tend to either prop mine up or lay them out on a coffee table. This one has been on my coffee table for a little while, and because it's the one I've been pulling, and anytime I've come across something that I wanted to like glue and that kind of thing, I've pulled this one and kind of gone with that. Anyway, on the cover, I've already held her up and shown you the icy blue stones there on this dragonfly. The dragonfly pen does have these little pearls hanging off the side. Behind it, I've just wrapped a bunch of thread around this frame. The frame does still have the glass in it. I made one last time using the same type of frame, and I had left it open to where you could slide stuff behind it. I don't think, back when I made this one, I don't think I did it that way. I do know I made this where it still slides in and out. And you can put, you know, a piece. I did have my grandmother's signature where she had, you know, written her signature. I did have that slid in here, and obviously took that out to hold on to. But that does, you know, slide in and out if you want to replace it with something else, like a little piece of fringy fabric or a tag or anything like that. You can kind of poke it down behind there, add glue to it if you want it to be more permanent. But I left a little space behind this book cover so that this could be removable or interchangeable, so to speak. I used one of the handles on this one, and that's where I kind of, on that last journal I posted, I had kind of duplicated that from this one. This was kind of my inspiration. Now, I personally, so I had a piece of gold chain that was an old bracelet of mine run through these holes right here with a very special charm that I had that, you know, it was real gold, and it was a charm that I had that was very precious and important to me. So obviously I took that off, and I've just run this little piece of kind of a twisted rope here with some gold, gray, and cream colored string. And I've run that through there, and I did it to where it's, you know, all you have to do is snip it right there and pull it out. But I did do this in a little loop tie to where you can just pull these to untie it and slide this straight out. You could run a piece of cord down here with beads on it, like little seed beads like I've used here. You could, I mean, there's so many options of what you could run through here. You could even get a flower stem, a flower on a stem, and run a stem through these two holes here. These frames were made to swivel, like open, like doorways, so the hinge is removed, and so there's a hole here and here where you can run something very thin through it. And then, so here's a book cover here. This is a Old Reader's Digest book cover. I just love these flowers that kind of show through between the grunginess. I guess that shows up on camera. I've grungied up the cover, and then back here is the spine of the book that's inserted on the inside. That's just a journaling book, and I've never journaled in it. I did the braided cord hanging down here. There's this little dove bead there. The dove for me symbolizes peace. I'm sure that's probably what it's meant to symbolize. I've never really researched it, but for me, doves represent peace and love. Hanging from it are some seed beads. There's the little crystal butterfly that I kind of used this whole thing as my inspiration on that last journal that I videoed. Then some seed beads and just different grungy cords all stitched together and braided and, you know, strung out there. And then what else? So this has some vintage lace, some old fabric here. It's very thin cotton. And then I've just done some seed beads on some of that threading or yarn. I'm not even sure what that would be called. It's like some type of string. It's very pretty though. It has little knots coming down it. The same stuff I used back here to wrap around the frame itself. That is more than actually wrapped around. It's actually stitched through the book covers. I love to, I try to always think of my journals as heirloom pieces. I want them to last forever. I think with very, you know, somewhat, I shouldn't say delicate use, but, you know, as long as you're not slinging it around, pulling on it, you know, picking it up by the fabric and stuff, it should be very, very stable. I do journals where everything like this right here is stitched through this cover, so it's not just glued on. This is stitched through. Even the pin on the front is like attached through with this string, like sewn in and glued. And yeah, I try to make my journals to where they're, you know, going to stand the test of time. Obviously, glues and paper, all of that stuff is how do I put it? It's all, I guess, time sensitive. Paper is very, you know, it ages and everything. all of that to me just represents personality. So, you know, just move forward with things in your life and let them age with grace, and recognize the beauty in it as it does so. And then on the spine, so what I did, usually I use like real book spines. On this one, because I was making it for myself and because I liked the look of it, I wanted it to be all creams and beiges with no interruptions of writing, I guess, is no distractions or anything. So I just used paper and Mod Podge. So you can see that the Mod Podge is like, even though it is the matte Mod Podge, it still creates kind of a luster along where it's coated on these. And I've aged it all up. I just stitched them all on wonky like that for character. I did a leather band coming across it. There is this metal charm here with the rivets, and then I stitched this into this actual spine and these buttons, so it goes all the way through this spine and holds on each side. And then these little belts coming across the spine obviously are for just for appearances. They're not functional, but I did layer it up with this beautiful piece of vintage lace underneath it. And this is some ribbon from India here. And then this right here is just this pretty lace with these bows on it. I don't know how well that shows up. It's very pretty, and that comes along there. And what else? So on the back of the cover, you can see all this little grungy, I wish I knew what this was called. I found it at, I've talked about it before. I found it at an antique shop in Panama City Beach, and it was a big ball of it. And over the years, I have been slowly going through it, and I don't even know what it's called. It's got this frayed stuff on each edge of it. So anyway, it's just beautiful stuff, and I dread when it's gone because it's kind of my go-to thing when I'm wanting. So I've used it all in here. And yeah, I love the look of it. I've grunged up the back of this cover. I think someone told me one time they thought it was this right here was like the salvage ends of something, but it's on both sides. So I don't think it's like salvage ends because it comes about that wide, and this stuff is on both sides of it. I wanted to throw that in there in case anybody was looking at it and just thinking it was the salvage end. I don't think that's what it is. But anyway, back to the cover. So yeah, I've grunged it up with gesso and inks and stains and those Stabilo pencils. And so that's the back cover. This has actually loosened up quite a bit over the, gosh, it's probably been over a year or two since I've been using this book. Every time I do, like I don't use it every day or anything like that. It's maybe once every few months I'll pull it out and add something to a page, or just sit there and kind of add gesso or some Stabilo pencils or something just to de-stress. I keep it on my coffee table, so a lot of times while we're watching TV, I'll just kind of pick it up and mess with it. Anyway, I say all of that because this book originally was not this gator mouthed. That's happened over time. But it was originally stiff when you opened it, which I don't ever mind that. Oh, I should mention, I've got some reading glasses around my neck. This is not the pair I kept in here, but obviously I took my reading glasses out. But I had created myself a place for reading glasses, and I just kept reading glasses tucked in here. This is not the pair I had in here, obviously, because I keep my very fashionable beaded. Y'all, getting old is so hard. I get made fun of by my sister and my husband because I've gotten to where I wear my readers with a chain around them, and they all say I'm an old woman. So they all joke. My sister's actually a little bit older than I am, but they all pick on me about it. But I don't care. I am not going to. I want to be comfortable. I want to have my reading glasses on me without having to dig them out of my purse every time. Anyway, so yeah, I'm an old woman apparently. But I made this to where, you know, my reading glasses could stay there, and I'm trying to find a pen or something. I know I have a paintbrush stuck in here somewhere. Let me pull that out so I can just show you that this is open all the way down like that. So you can, you know, if you put a pen or like this paintbrush feels like it would stay in there, but these are kind of wide because, like I said, I made them for glasses. But something could fall through potentially because that is open on the bottom. Anyway, I'll add that back in just a minute to the back here. The other thing I wanted to mention is that I line the inside of these with like cardstock paper. And I do that so that if this fabric starts to fray or unravel, I don't want those strings to catch on whatever you're sliding in. And so I try to line all of these with cardstock. You can see a little bit of the cardstock poking out right there. But that just helps to create a easier slide for that. Okay, in the front. So this happened after I had been using it for a while. This paper started curling up on me. I loved it. So I started to glue it back down, but I love the look of it curling up. So I actually glued it to where it's curling up like that. I hope I'm in frame. So yeah, it's things like that happen when you are using a journal. And like I say, I always try to embrace it. This is just an empty, I've hinged here. I've hinged a few of the pages. I did put tabs on, but it's just an empty journal. The back part has clear pages on it. And then the front section has lined pages. Now, I actually used, I don't normally do this, but I actually took the back cover off of this and used it here on the front of the journal. I don't normally do that. I did it because I knew I was keeping this one. And I made the back cover out of chipboard. And that's where you can see where my handle is screwed all the way through. And then this, you can barely see the ribbons coming through. But that's the ribbons that were stitched through, holding this frame on, which the frame is also glued down as well. But again, I like to just do mine to where I hope they last a really long time. For me, I like to put like stuff that's important to me in journals a lot of times, or either do my sketches, which I'm not saying my sketches are masterpieces, but they are important to me. If I spend time on something, it's important to me. So I want this to last. And I always like covering signatures with some type of fabric or vintage lace or doily or something. It's more than just for looks or appearance. It's also because you can go in and pin stuff. I have a lot of little dangles. I don't wear bracelets very often anymore. When I do, it tends to be the wide leather chunky ones that have messages on them. But I do have a lot of the little charm bracelets, so I love like pinning my charms or even stitching through my charms onto these pieces of fabrics. Mail lady just went by. My doggies are probably going to bark because they recognize the sound. This I came back and added after, so I had done this page. I'm trying to remember. I've added so much. This is just a flower that I taped on. This was actually a flower that, a bouquet that was sent at my dad's memorial services, and I had pressed them, and I'd used just a little piece and taped in on this journal somewhere down the line, and so that's what that is. And then the little writing spot here, which, like I say, I never went back and wrote on. A little tab here. This is one of my, I loved this button. There's nothing, I mean, it's old. I don't know how old it's. I think it's glass. But I love this, and I use this here. I don't know. I just love that button. I don't know why. Put a little tab there. These are just a bunch of different papers, just kind of all stitched together, but they're not glued down. But I just like the look of them curling up. And then this is just where I came in and had glued a lot of stuff to this page. I'm trying to remember. I think I did this. Some of these things I did when I first, I think I did this one in the creation of the journal. But some of them I did on separate pieces of mixed media paper, and then came back and, like, I did the collage on a piece of paper and then came back and attached the paper into the journal after it was made. Here is an available page that you can glue stuff down on with one of those singed and aged looking wooden rulers. This is a whole collage page here that I did after the fact, I believe, because I think that they're actually, I think this is actually glued in. Like, I pulled the fabric away here, and here the fabric that helps to reinforce the paper. I pulled it away a little bit and then attached these down. I had done this as one big page of just glue and collage stuff, and then just kind of went back in and attached it. And then after I did that, I would come back and add things. Like here was a piece of, I don't know why I do this stuff, but I had a bundle of strings on my desk, and I just picked them up and attached them in, I think with a rusty staple there. And yeah, so that was a clothing, no, that was a tag off of a, I think a Santa Claus key at Christmas time. And I loved it, so I just came in and glued it there like a tab, and I left the rope on it and everything. It says key to my heart on it. I gessoed over the rest of it, so I think that must have been the company's name. I don't even know. It's been a long time. This was some old paper that peeled off of something, and it was on my desk, so I just glued it down, intending to come back and layer more and more. So here's pages that's available for layering on. This is a piece of the snippets that my friend Dee, made for me that I use a lot of time on the spines. And when I have little pieces left over that are like too wide or too long for the particular journal that I'm making, I'll hold on to those pieces and use them like page tabs. And then this is a piece of grungy paper. On top of it, just kind of wadded up, and then a button coming through to the other side to that button. And these are all, I don't know how old these buttons are, but I pulled these out of my vintage button stash. This is just some paper, you know, for journaling or hidden notes, something of that nature. I just came in and attached them on. Something about messy paper just attracts me. I love it. So I love doing that. There's no rhyme or reason to it, and other people may not like that. I do, so I do it. Makes me happy, so I do it. This was some backing off of a tape, and again, it was just something weird that I really liked, and so I made this little thing here, and I came in and I stitched it onto this side of the dolly, like that. And I then tied a stick to the end of it and another vintage button. And I never came back and journaled in it, as you can see, but I added that. It's actually stitched onto the dolly. And then where the stitches were on the paper, I just put tape over it so that covered up the stitching. And then this is mixed media paper, so you can actually paint or write here. And then the front of it is, let me see if I can get my hands on this. This is a piece of, not the picture, the plastic that's on the top is like a piece of acetate packaging that came on something. I don't remember what now. It seems like it was, I want to think it was on a cake topper, like a store-bought cake. And the top had the smooth, and then it was the ridged around the sides. And so I cut a square out and used it to kind of go over this. Of course, I washed it and then used it over this picture of this rabbit. I kind of went with a nature theme on this. And if I remember correctly, I made this in the fall several years ago. Maybe a year, maybe two. I don't remember now. But I think I was longing for springtime, because when I'm looking at it now, there's a lot of birds and rabbits and pastels, although there are deep colors too. I'm having to figure that maybe I'm getting close to the halfway point, so I wanted to add in a kind of a little secret message. I had mentioned earlier in the video, this is just for people who are still hanging out with me and actually watching this to the end. Am I even halfway? No, I'm thinking this is, I'm not halfway. Okay, hold on. We'll go back and talk about the journal. I'll come back to that in just a moment. So this button is stitched in, and I do this usually behind signatures. Again, it's my way of making a journal more secure. I don't always talk about this, but I just do this. Usually I do it behind signatures so that they don't always show. Sometimes it ends up that it falls in between the signatures, but I'll stitch a button or something. Sometimes it's just the stitch itself, but I go through my fabric that's here that these are stitched to, and then I go all the way through the outside right before I add this part. It's kind of a weird thing to explain, but in my assembly I try so hard to make sure all of this is fully attached to all of this, if that makes sense. So I actually, you can see the button where I took it through and stitched it through. And then I cut a denim pocket in half, and I put half of it back here and half of it here. And back when I had it on my coffee table, I kept things like supplies that I like to have on hand. I'm actually going to talk about that in just a minute, but I'm trying to see if I have the one little bottle that I had slid in there. I don't, but I do have it somewhere else. It's in my office, I think. But like, these are way too big but this is kind of a representation. This is way too big. I had these little bottles. They have little gold lids. They're clear glass. I think I got them off of Amazon, but I slid them in here. And they had, one of them I kept twine in. The other one I kept those brads that go through a page, you know, like a metal brad. And that way, if I was trying to attach something in here temporarily or until I could get to glue or string and stuff, I could have it available. And I had one there and there. But this is very gator mouth. So I don't know, like for me, it was sitting like this on my coffee table. It was very wide because I had bottles in those. But again, you can put scissors. Scissors is another good thing, that like the little small scissors. You could put a pair of scissors in here and a pencil or pen in that one, whatever you choose. But I do like that the denim shows on the outside like that. Just that little touch of quirkiness. Like it. Anyway, I just collaged all over the background there. This is some beautiful packaging tape. I think the name of that company is Sugar Boo and Company, I think. I order from them way too often. They have beautiful stuff. But at Christmas time, I had bought all of my loved ones a book of, that I do have. Let me grab it. I think that, y'all, this is something I think would interest people. I keep it next to my chair. Mine's pretty ratty-tatty because I've been writing in it as the days go by. But it's 365 Lovely Thoughts. Let me see, mine's kind of pulling apart because, like I say, I've been writing in it. One day I'm going to make a journal out of all these because I've been writing my thoughts in them. But at the bottom of every page, there's just a positive saying. So there's May 6th. I haven't gotten to that day yet. Today is your lucky day. I have to look forward to May 6th. When in doubt, relax, turn off your mind, and float downstream. Anyway, all of these have like beautiful thoughts on the bottom. It's a beautiful company. In my opinion, things are just a little bit pricey on there, so I try to only splurge on something like that, either as a gift for my mom, my sister, or somebody that's a dear friend, or I don't buy from them as often as I would love to, but I do every now and then when I need some inspiration. I'll get on their site and kind of flip through, so I just thought I'd throw that out there. If anybody's hanging out with me, stay away from that site if you don't want to spend any money. I guess that's what I'll say. This is just a beautiful little, I guess, a doily. This is more of that pretty flower fabric ribbon from India that I was talking about. So yeah, it's a different color. That's a pale pink on the inside. This is an icy blue. I don't know how well that shows up, but in person you can barely see the faint color of the icy blue on that one. And so I just put some of the pink color down this edge because I thought it looked pretty with the fabric I used to reinforce this paper and this doily. Coming down this side is some braided, I think what would be called raffia. And then I left it open, almost like a handle, to where you could slide paper in here or something, but you could always go back through and stitch that down because there is fabric on the other side that you could, you know, hide your stitching through. I did stitch with wax linen thread the buttons just for extra reinforcement. I do use the Irish wax linen thread. I think it's by a company called Crawford. That's what I use to sew signatures in. To me, that is the strongest wax coated thread I have found that doesn't unravel on me over time. In fact, I think it's inside of this little portion here that I used. I hate to say cheaper. It's some I'd gotten off of Amazon way before, like a big spool that I had bought way before I had discovered the Crawford linen, wax linen. And so I randomly will use it usually in my personal journals, but I used it, I think, on this, and you'll see what I'm talking about, you know, with the way it kind of unravels on you. The Crawford does not seem to do that. This beautiful ribbon here, I bought not that long ago from somebody off of Etsy, and it's a type that you can buy, I think, Hobby Lobby or, you know, at stores. It's not vintage, it's made to look vintage, but I bought it and added it in, I think I may have added a signature into this, because I think I bought this like last year and this journal was already made. I can't really remember how I added that in. I think I might have went in and added this doily and this page in there. Not sure. Anyway, oh, some paper ribbon made out of book pages. You can see the writing or the typing. I think it's off of a dictionary paper. I did not make that. I had bought that ready-made by someone off of Etsy. I think you can get on Etsy and find, you know, paper ribbon by other crafters pretty easily. I don't know why I'm thinking that might have been by Bit of Birdsong a long, long time ago. I don't even know if she still makes this stuff. I need to catch up on the videos. This is some more available paper, mixed media paper, to either, that one has gesso on it. When you find bunches of gesso like that, you can get a sanding block and sand it, or leave it as is to add texture to whatever you create there. This pocket here, I did go in and stitch with some etched stitches onto the paper. I think the other one was just glued on. This one is actually stitched on. I used this burlap ribbon with red accent on this page. I thought it went well with the red here. This is where I want to stop. For anybody who has hung out with me this long, if you're still hanging out with me, I want to insert a little secret message here. It's nothing of importance. It's just if anyone's interested. I have a handful of people. So it started, I already asked her if I could use her name. Her name is Judy. Judy had bought something off of my Etsy shop. I think it was a pocket watch thing. I don't even know if I still had any of those in my Etsy or not. But she had bought this from me. And then over the course of her transaction, she ended up finding out that I had a YouTube channel with junk journals. And so then she got my email off of my YouTube video. And she ended up emailing me and asking if I had other, she's not into junk journals, you know, like that, but she loves like antique and vintage style stuff. And it just seems she's very into the metals and that kind of thing. So she had asked me way back then, because I have a very, very modest antique booth. And so I had told her I had stuff there. And so she had asked me if I would send pictures. Well, it evolved into me sending her little private videos. Well, then over the course of time, I've had a few other customers ask, you know, if I had any more of something that was in a journal and that kind of thing. And then they wanted to be added to my little list. So I do occasionally send out videos to this very small list of people. I think there's only 4 or 5 on there now that I send the videos to. And I do not want that to grow because those videos are so odd. Like, I literally will have my dogs barking in them. I don't care. I mean, not that I care anyway, but I am who I am. But I tend to be very much more relaxed and probably say things sometimes that shouldn't be said. But anyway, I do not want that video output to grow. So I really debated on, you know, even talking about it in this flip through. I've never talked about it before, but I do know that a lot of people don't watch my videos all the way through because I ramble. And so I just thought I would insert it somewhere periodically when I'm doing flip throughs. If you want to find out if I have certain things that you see in a journal, like I have a lot of people reach out about the zipper pulls that I have. I have so many of these. And so, you know, things like that. I'm trying, the handles that I use. So I got these in Amsterdam, although the shop I went in, my mother-in-law had asked me to bring her back some wine glasses. And the shop I went in resells the pottery and serviceware from one of the palaces there. And so I had went into the shop looking for wine glasses, and in the case of where the cash register was, I looked down and he had a bowl of these, and he said he had went to France, and he travels around to get his collections for selling. He had went to France, and I mean, I have a whole bowl of these and paid a fortune for them, but he did cut me a little bit of a break. But all in all, when I got home, when I say I have an antique shop, y'all, I'm not one of these people who, I don't know a lot about antiques, I'll put it like that. I buy what I like. Sometimes I think I get ripped off, but I won't know it at the time. But like on these, I think that I probably saved about $4 a piece on these, because he worked me up a bundle deal. But I didn't, the markdown wasn't that big. If you look these up, these things are like really expensive, and I did definitely get a better deal than what I've seen them for on some of those other shops. But anyway, I'm saying all of that because if there's anything you're interested in, email me at the scribblesintime@gmail.com email. And even if you just want to get the videos of my flashing some things that I'm going to have for sale, just be ready for them to be very informal. I don't put that stuff usually on my Etsy. Sometimes I'll list things on my Etsy, and sometimes I just go through the private video. I find it so much easier. I do want to put this paintbrush back in. I had, so in between the signatures, it's on this one anyway, where the fabric had come across that I layered in for my eyeglasses to go right there. So as these came across, I did stitch areas, like I stitched along here, and I stitched along here, here, so that this part would be open for me to slide stuff into. But then without realizing, like see that's open there, but without realizing it, that was where I placed my button to attach. So you really can't get anything in here very well. But it just so happened that this one fell out to where you can. So I slid a paint, actually when I was using this, I had a grungier paintbrush than this. I'm not even going to try to get it through those. I don't even think I ever bothered when it was before, but you should be able to feed it through all of them. It's too much. It's too tedious. You get it through the top one and it's going to hold just fine. It's tight. So anyway, that's where that paintbrush was that I pulled out. I hope I'm still going. Am I still going? My glasses are not on. Yeah, I'm at 37 minutes. We got to hurry up. Okay, the last signature here. So this was a piece of, I kind of put, okay, so if I'm being honest, I love the sound of crinkly paper. Like those, I had a piece this morning. I made myself throw it away, but let me show you because it's right here. I love this sound and stuff. This is a piece of an Amazon package. I ordered myself a eyeglass case. Anyway, so I love to use this in between fabric so that it crinkles. I did not do it with this, but I'm laughing because that's really what I had meant to do on this, but I ended up using like quilting in here. And this was just a little sloppy thing. It was, I love, love, love this red button. And there's another one back here on the other side that I guess at one time, like I say, these are all old buttons. I guess at one time it had been red, but it faded out. And I love those buttons. And that kind of was what started me on this little path. Plus I had denim here. So I went through and made this little huggable wrap to go around this signature. And it could serve as a pin. Okay, I put pins in it. And so that when I wanted to stitch something, I kept string attached to the pins, and I kept pins. I used this side actually because there was more room, but I kept needles with string already attached to them in this, like a pin cushion kind of thing, so that as I was adding things to the journal, if I needed, I already had it threaded and everything, and I could kind of whip stitch stuff down. Yes, I keep a needle. It's a big fat, like a yarn needle with this twine. I glue the end of the twine and make it kind of pointed so I can feed it through the needle. And then I'll keep twine back here on a needle so that when I need to actually stitch something, I do it that way. Anyway, so that's what that's about. And then I put this piece of elastic through the signature of the journal, all the way sewn through the outside and attached on the outside underneath this embellishment. And used it like this. I put this little wooden spool here. And then that's kind of what I hooked that onto to keep this section closed. And then this folds up like that, and there's writing space. And then this side opens up like this. And it's just random paper and writing space. And then I taped over where you could see the string stitched through, like the stitching. I just put tape over it. And that's that. And then this was off of the bottom of a box. I love the number. I don't know why, but I did. And so I did it that way. And then when I stitched this signature, this is where I was talking about this stuff unravels. It's like some, I don't know. But anyway, I put glue on it to help hold it. And I haven't been showing you what all I've attached here. So this is a wooden cross, and I chalk painted it. And I used antiquing wax on it. And just came through and chalk painted this wooden cross and attached it there. And then just a rusty washer here. And I let the cross hang out through the top so that it shows from the outside of the journal. And this rusty washer hangs out down there. And then to close this, I kind of do it like that. And then pull the elastic back over it. And that is all kind of attached in with this handle. And this corrugated piece off of the back of a notebook. I actually have, it's just a regular old school notebook. And when I'm done with the notebooks, I tear this piece off. This particular one had white on one side. And I just go through and attach it just for extra texture. And then there's some more of that backing off of a piece of tape that for some odd reason I love. This was a piece of little bark that I stitched in here and gessoed and all of that yummy stuff. And then my wonky stitches here where this is all stitched down. On this side, I kind of just added some paper, like the nested style paper. And then stuck it all down there. And then on this side, I did like this woodpecker, and I got this piece of rope, wrapped it around and stitched it down. And then these are little red metal brads that go through to attach that, even though I also glued it. But I just thought the red looked good against that red and with the red off of the woodpecker. This is some actual Japanese writing paper. You can see that when the ink got wet, it actually smeared a little bit. But that's actual Japanese writing paper back there that's been written on out of an old book that I have. Am I in frame? Okay, gotta hurry. This is some more of my glue, or I've attached some of that rope that came entwined here, and I just went in and attached it there for texture. Here I have a pretty little, I think this is wooden, it might be clay. It feels more like clay, but a little bead. And then here I attached a seashell, but I don't like the look of these shells without, I don't know, it looks creepy to me. I don't like the look of this particular shell, so I just ran thread all through it. At first I didn't, I attached it, and then every time I would look at it, it looked, I don't know, a little bit vulgar or something, which is horrible for me to say about something so beautiful. It's from nature, but I just didn't, I don't know, it distracted me, so I put string all through it, like that. To, I don't know, add more embellishment. Okay. Okay, so here is, you can see shiny tape here. This is just different pieces of paper I found on my desk and just went in and added it just because. And my intention had been, one day to come back and put a photo or something on top. They all just, see, that's what kind of paper this was behind here. And then I attached the bird. Anyway, that had been my thought. And then here's some more just scrunched up paper. Here's the back. The back here, I did use for paintbrushes and stuff at one time. Let me pull this one back out. I think I had a pen. I kept one of those little brown pens in one of them. But all three of these are done to where you can slide something. If I remember correctly, I had stitched across the bottom so that stuff wouldn't slide out. And I think this one over time of me using it, the stitching came out. I think it's this one, maybe. I don't know. It seems like one of them it did, but these things are so tight, nothing ever slid out. I never had any issues with it. So, but it seems like the stitching came out on one of these. I can't remember now. Anyway, something like that. That completes the flip through. So I am going to cut this off at this point. I hope to hear from some of you. I love reading your comments. So please, if you, oh, I did leave extra here in case this, I don't think there's room in this journal for this to get any thicker, but my thoughts originally when I did this was that there would be plenty of room. So I left that extra on there so that this could be untied. I did not glue that knot or anything, so that this could be untied and made, you know, so that it could be even thicker. But I don't recommend that at this point because this thing has a gator mouth now. Here, okay, so when I started trying to pull out some of the chunky stuff, like my glasses and stuff that belong to me, you know, my personal stuff, when I was pulling that out, I started trying to look to see if I wanted to remove any pages to make this not so gator mouth so that somebody else, you know, could possibly purchase it and add their own style. You could still do that because I've talked about this before. Like this adds some thickness, but I tried to pull this out. I stretched the doily so that this comes out far enough so that the stick's not in there. But I did notice this with the two buttons is adding a lot of thickness. So you could tear this page out or even just tear off this edge to remove that thickness and then attach something thin here to this page. That would remove some thickness from all of this stuff. But my point is you can always tear a page out and then use the little piece that's left over to attach something thinner to. Don't be scared to play with your journals and make them yours and do all that. But I've got to shut up because I am making too long of a video. I am fixing, my work table is covered with stuff that I am fixing to start posting for the private video. So anyway, hope to hear from you, and I hope you all get out there, let your light shine bright. I almost said line. Let your light shine bright. Know that you are loved. You are so special, and have a beautiful day.